Hello and welcome to the Powerboost meditation. Today, let us experiment with the theme neutral gear of the mind. Neutral gear of the mind. Our mind is generally in the engaged position, which is the driving position, engaged in the story, engaged in whatever is happening around us. Even if we take a moment of silence, generally, we keep on processing whatever has happened or is happening in the story, which means the mind is always in the engaged position. The option that we have through the spiritual wisdom is to develop, is to experience a neutral perspective, a neutral gear. So, just like a neutral gear doesn't engage in either going forward or backwards, a mind that is in the neutral gear doesn't start to process anything that is happening outside. A processing mind always creates opinions, it always creates boundaries, labels. It's always uh, going into the commentary of this is good, this is not good, this is how it should be, this is how it should not be. And so, if the mind is in that mode, it means really the mind is completely engaged in the story. So, whatever is happening in the story is influencing the mind. Whereas the moment I realize my truth, my reality, it allows me to experience a state of mind which is completely detached, neutral. Neutral means unbiased. The moment we become biased and based on our inner experiences of life, that's how biases emerge. And all that bias makes us more and more rooted in the story. It doesn't allow us to be free. So the mind doesn't then experience freedom. So the more I take time out to experience the neutral state, so I take time out to apply the neutral care, it allows me to see everything from a wider perspective. It also allows me not to go into the details whilst playing my part, not going into too many details, but really allowing me to move from one detail to another detail, from one role to another role very smoothly. When the mind is in neutral care, it can easily engage when the time comes to engage, disengage when the time comes to disengage, disengage from one role and then move on to the other role. Otherwise, we tend to mix up even the different roles that we play. We many times mix up the personal, professional, and so many other roles that we play. But the more I experience, the more I practice applying the neutral care, being in the neutral perspective, it allows me to not only be clear in my thought process, but also be more efficient and productive at whatever I'm doing. So let us take a few moments to experiment and experience uh, applying the neutral care. As we sit comfortably and relax ourselves, we realize that it's not the mind who is in control, but I, the being, owns my mind. I realize that the gear is in my hand. When it is time for me to come into the story, to enact my part, I engage the care. But when it is time for me to come within, to experience myself, I can easily disengage and come back into the neutral care. So, right now, as I'm taking this time for myself, let me gently shift my attention away from the story world. I take the mind beyond the experience of the world beyond, where the physical story doesn't exist. I experience being in my home of silence as a tiny being of light. I realize that the mind has stopped processing the story. I've come to my truth, where I feel myself away from the expansions in the story world. The more I stay beyond in the neutral, I stop judging, I stop making opinions, and I hold this consciousness, the consciousness of being beyond and seeing the truth, not from the perspective of right versus wrong, but from the perspective of truth. Everything is eternal in my here I experience just me, myself, a gentle, silent being of light. With respect to the story world, I'm completely neutral. I accept myself the way I am, and I accept everyone else the way they are. Now I come into the presence of the being, the one who always stays in this clarity, the being who doesn't judge at all, whose heart overflows with compassion and love constantly. I, the being, I experience sacred company of the one. All the burdens of the story are removed. I feel completely light. completely at ease, rested in the company of the divine. I also experience my eternal family of stars, away from the real world into the real world, the real experience of truth, with the mind completely disengaged from the story world. I can easily experience company of the divine. Experience being lost in remembrance of the one, being neutral allows me to rediscover myself, not to fall into the traps of the ego mind. Just be myself naturally. Stay here in my truth, in my reality, in my home, absorbed in the silent presence of the one. I hold on to this experience, to staying above and beyond, in the company of the one. The love of the one emerges the best inside me. It makes me complete. It allows the mind to be oceanic and not fall into the limitedness of the story. This clear experience, I gently return back to the story world, realizing I am a guest here, And whilst engaging the story, I remember to apply the neutral gear from time to time. I disengage, experience my truth, and return back the mind that is completely benevolent, beyond any judgments, completely neutral. Om Shanti. Thank you.